And we're live. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Ruby from the Feed Real Institute, and today's special guest, we have Jodi Griffiths from Standard Process. Very excited to have you on, Jodi. Thanks for being with
Thank you
us.
for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Remind me where you're joining in from what city?
Wisconsin, Palmyra, Wisconsin. Super big
Ah,
metropolis here in Wisconsin. We have a population of about 1,500.
and how's the weather out there?
Hot, humid, according to my standards. I'm ready for
Yeah.
snow. No,
It
it's
is
we've
hot
had
and
it.
humid here in San Diego too, but probably not as much as
Yeah.
over there.
We usually get a couple of well, we get humidity and we usually get a few like warm, uncomfortable 90-degree days, but I feel like we've had a stretch of like 2 weeks where it's just muggy and warm. And I like those mornings when you get up and it's like 50 degrees and crisp and you can sit outside with a cup of coffee. And it's not like that right now. So
Yeah,
I'm ready for
yeah,
snow.
yeah. Well, it's you'll just endure it for a couple more months and
True,
then
true. This is why I'm in Wisconsin. I love my seasons. So we complain when it gets too hot, but then we complain when it gets too cold. So
yeah,
we know
yeah.
that the next season is only a short time away.
Well, lovely for you to make it with us. I'm going to do a nice little introduction for you before we move on to our big portion of talking about pet behavior and it being more than just a phase. So thank you everyone for joining in. Would love to know where you guys are joining in from as well. Is your weather hot and humid like it is in Wisconsin, or is it beautiful like in San Diego? So Jodi Griffiths is a certified veterinary technician. She brings 12 years of mixed animal practice experience to her role of senior veterinary education specialist at Standard Process. Love that.
Thank you.
Joining Standard Process in 2008, Jodi is the voice behind Vet Help, which is the info line for patient consultations and pet related questions. And she also oversees all aspects of education on the veterinary side at Standard Process. She enjoys the relationship she's built with all veterinarians and staff over the years while educating on the benefits of whole food nutrition and helping them incorporate Standard Process veterinary formulas into their practices. She earned her veterinary technician certification in 1997 after receiving her associate's degree from Madison Area Technical College in Madison, Wisconsin. Jodi and her husband, Sean, who also works at Standard Process, have
Hmm.
3 energetic labs, along with 7 kids that help them running on a daily basis. And she wouldn't have it any other way.
For sure.
Wow. What does that even look like?
It's crazy. I hide in the closet sometimes. No, it's crazy. We're blended. I have 4 daughters and my husband has 3 sons. And a lot of our kids match up in age. So the oldest is 23 and the youngest is 13. But we're to the point where everybody can feed themselves. Everybody is self-sufficient, and so it gets a little easier as they get older. But it also gets a different crazy because we're running with sports, and I have a grandbaby coming in a month, and so it's all tons of blessings. But yeah, we're kind of crazy.
Is this your first grandbaby?
It is. Yeah.
Wow. I hear it's a completely different experience.
Me too, and I have not wrapped my mind around it yet. I am beyond excited, but I don't think I'll understand the emotions until I'm holding that little guy in my arms. So
Sure, sure. It's
crazy.
like all the cuddles without all the responsibilities.
Right, and you can send him home when you're done with him. So
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for that new chapter in your life. It's
thanks.
going to be amazing.
Thank you.
So Jodi's on with us today because Standard Process is one of our amazing partners for the Feed Rural Summit this October here in San Diego. It's October 11th and 12th. The summit is our annual Canine Longevity Conference. So we invite and partner with different brands that we align with when it comes to feeding real, healing naturally, whole food nutrition. So Jodi, your background and interest in whole food nutrition is just right on par with what we're doing with the Institute. So I'm so excited to have you on and talk to you today.
Thank you.
What inspired you to become a vet tech? I mean, 1997, you are very experienced and I'm sure well
Yes, I
practiced.
am.
how do what
Yeah.
inspired you and how has your career sort of evolved over these years?
I don't know. I think like a lot of us that are in the veterinary industry, we've loved animals from day one. I mean, I loved animals from before I could walk. I grew up on a dairy farm until I was about 10. And so I was constantly outside with my parents playing with the cats, the cows, the dogs. And I knew that my career would likely be something animal related. Thought I wanted to be a veterinarian, but then I decided, no, that's a little too long of a career or a path for me. So I decided to go to tech school and worked in mixed animal practice here in Wisconsin for about 12 years and then transitioned to standard process. And I mean, my big encouragement for technicians out there is there's lots of opportunities in this world for you. I mean, the clinic is the most awesome place to be. I loved it. I miss it. But there's also lots of opportunities in other places. And so Standard Process is a whole food supplement company that has a veterinary division or a veterinary department, I guess you could say. And so my role shifted into be very education focused now, which is interesting because when I was a kid or like going through school, I had a lot of teachers tell me that I would make a great teacher. And a teacher was the last thing I wanted to be because I don't know, that just didn't sound fun to me at all. But when I look at what I do now, I teach every day. I mean, and I love it. I love working with veterinarians and veterinary staff. I love working with pet owners and just helping to educate them on something they're maybe not aware of, or maybe we need to troubleshoot something because they're not seeing the results they were hoping for. And when I left practice, I was about as conventional as they come. I mean, this whole integrative, holistic mind was like, it just wasn't something that was on my radar. And so I have evolved so much in how I approach patient care now and how I look at nutrition so much as therapy. And I mean, what we're putting in our animals' bodies and what we're feeding them is key. I mean, it starts there. If we're not thinking about what we're feeding them and all of the different options we have and how some are better than others, I think we're really missing how we really could help to inspire true health in so many of our animals. And so that's what makes me so passionate about what I do is seeing the improvements, changing the lives of the animals and of their people, and just really helping to, I don't know, show somebody a new tool that they just were not aware of. And so
Sure.
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I think Jack Ma, who's the founder of Alibaba, he put out a video many years ago. It says, like, in your 20s, you should be sort of like an apprentice where you're like
Mm,
hardcore learning. And like into your 30s, early 40s, you're really like, practicing. You're becoming an expert in your
yeah,
craft. And then
yeah.
once you sort of go beyond that, your only option is to give back and
Hmm.
teach what you've learned
Hmm.
throughout the years. And so, especially with how the veterinary field is that landscape is really changing with technology and all this
Absolutely.
information that we have thrown at us and that we're constantly consuming. We need mentors, right? People
Hmm.
who have like seen what has happened
Hmm.
over the last couple of decades and say, look, this is what we've learned and how we can apply it going forward. So I love that for you. It sounds like you're
Absolutely.
like,
That's a good way to say that I'm a seasoned professional, right? But no, I agree because I would say that I have come into my comfort and I have come into starting to recognize where my passions are, where my strengths are, things I don't really want to do. And you're right. I think that only comes with time and experience. And yeah, so I think that's exactly it.
yeah. So what are you seeing? Like what over the years, have you noticed in terms of behavioral health trends and
Mhm.
things? I guess in the recent years with all of these changes.
Right. I've I mean, obviously, one of the most common things I think we're seeing nowadays is stressed out animals, stress, anxiety. I mean, we can look at other things too. I mean, I'm getting more and more questions about cognitive decline. I get so many questions about gut health. I mean, there's lots of different trends that I think are kind of. I mean, they kind of wax and wane. But I would say one of the most common questions that I get nowadays is how do we support our animals that are super stressed and super anxious, and I think the last 5 years has been a huge component to that. But I was getting questions about anxious animals before COVID. I mean, it's not just that, but I do think that it has heightened because we know that a lot of people got animals during that time. They were home. It would seem like the perfect time to get a new puppy or to adopt an animal. And then a lot of us went back to work.
Yeah,
And so now those animals are left alone. And some have adjusted and some have not. But I also feel that over the years, I've been in the veterinary industry almost 30 years now, and I have definitely seen a shift in how we approach these patients. We're starting to see more sick animals. We're starting to see animals that are just not responding the way that I think they used to years ago, which sometimes I stop and think and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Years ago, fresh food was really not a big thing. So why does it seem like they're getting sicker? But I don't know. I think there's just still something about the processing of foods that is kind of getting us to the point where we're seeing more and more of these chronic conditions.
sure.
And so definitely seeing more and more anxious animals. I see it in my own dogs. I have 3 labs. 2 of them were here over COVID and they got used to us being home and they loved it. And then we slowly started going back and being out of the home. And now there's days that they spend 8 hours in their kennel. And I hate that, but it's reality,
Right.
unfortunately. So we're definitely seeing more and more
And
anxious animals.
surely part of that is our stress
Mm,
personally and
absolutely.
anxiety,
Mhm.
reflecting onto them, and because they're just, they're absorbing all of our
For sure.
emotions. Yeah.
Yep.
Are there like certain breeds that you're seeing that are more susceptible to stress and anxiety?
Well, not necessarily. So there are breeds that are more prone, I guess you could say, to anxious behavior, but so much of it ties back to just each individual animal. The dynamic of the house, the environment that they're in, the diets that they're eating, how they are, the energy that they're getting from their owners, just like you said. So I really don't think there's any particular breed. It's not like I'm going to go out and I'm going to get this dog and it's guaranteed to be anxious. Just like I'm going to go out and get this dog and it's guaranteed to not be anxious. No, I don't. I think any animal can develop some of those um, imbalance and emotional behaviors. But there are some. Herding breeds like border collies, Aussies. And Aussie was my first dog as an adult, and he was very different than your typical personality Australian Shepherd. He was calm and he loved people and he loved kids, and not many Aussies have that type of personality. So, even the ones that we say are prone to certain behaviors are not necessarily they don't always fit in the same box. Terriers are kind of known to potentially have a little higher anxiety levels. But again, it can really vary from one animal to the next. And
Well,
like age onset, it that can vary too. We'll see some animals that develop some of these anxious behaviors younger in life, and then we'll see some that are totally cool and calm until they're getting into their senior years, and then there might be a little bit of cognitive decline that's playing a role, because that in and of itself is super stressful when an animal's mind is changing or shifting, or they're not, they're confused, because that's kind of all part of that
yeah.
in their later years. So it really can develop at any age.
I'm curious, sometimes we might think something is anxiety or potentially like they just have a lot of energy that they
Mm,
haven't sort of burnt out. It's
yeah,
like, how
for
do
sure.
you determine if it's due to anxiety or something else?
Observation. I really think that's what it comes down to, is paying attention to their behaviors. Is there consistency to them? Is there any type of situations or triggers that seem to happen and then that type of behavior results? I also think it's super important that we pay attention to, and working with your veterinarian to make sure that there's not something underlying going on, some kind of a medical condition, because sometimes anxiety is related to something more underlying, and we have to try to get to the root of that issue. And so we don't want to just assume that we have an anxious animal on our hands. We want to make sure that there isn't anything underlying medically going on. So important to work with your vet have that evaluation done. But then once we kind of, I mean, you can kind of get an idea based on their behavior, based on their patterns, and if there's any types of triggers, then and you've ruled out everything else, then there's a pretty good chance that there's probably some imbalance going on in their brain that's causing some of those behaviors.
What behaviors are we looking for? Like, what are some common signs of anxiety that we might see or miss?
So there's obvious ones, or at least kind of obvious ones. I mean, those are ones that we might see on a more regular basis. It could be like trembling, it could be hiding, it could be vocalizing. Changes just in their behavior can be like maybe they're a super social animal and then suddenly they're not so social. They want to hide all the time. Cats especially. I have friends that have cats and I've never seen them when we're at their house because they always go and hide. So those are some common things, but there can also be some that are not as common. I mean, some kind of signs that there is some anxiety going on, but we're not realizing that's really what it is. It might be like for dogs, it might be licking their lips and kind of smacking their lips. Sometimes that's a sign of stress. Yawning is a classic way that dogs will release stress, and some people don't realize that. Shedding, sometimes excessive shedding can be an issue. And even like I said, sometimes just changing in how just changes in their personality. If they're normally super friendly and suddenly they're kind of reserved, or it could even be the opposite. If they're normally kind of reserved and suddenly they're in your face and crawling on you and like crawling on top of you, those could definitely be some signs that there's just they're anxious or stressed or something's just not right, I guess, in their world.
Yeah. And what are we, I mean, what do we think is triggering it? Is it like something in their environment, or like, do
It
we
could
have any idea?
it could be lots of things. I mean, it could be I mean, it there's lots of different there could be situational things, like storms, fireworks, loud noises, um, people coming over can be maybe more situational that are maybe a short-term stressor. And then there's ones that are more the long-term chronic things. So those might be something that they're exposed to on a very regular basis. Maybe a new pet being added. Maybe there's a new baby in the house. Maybe a family member is coming to live with them for an extended period of time, and that heightened anxiety or that heightened level of stress can over time just cause that imbalance in the brain that they're kind of at that heightened fight or flight constantly. And then
Mhm.
when you're at that level and that cortisol is pumping at a higher level for a longer period of time, then that's when we can see some of that imbalance in the brain, which leads to some of those anxious behaviors.
Sure, sure. I want to dive into things we can do to sort of relieve that stress and anxiety. I see a few new people that have dropped into our live. Would love also to know where you guys are located and joining from. We've got Tracy in Colorado, Jill from Pennsylvania, Kim from South Carolina. She says it's 96 degrees, but
Ah,
no.
you keep that.
She says I'm in Buffalo. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and over the winters. So, all right, I get it.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah, yeah. If you guys haven't been in our lives before, just a reminder, we go for about 30 minutes chit chatting and learning more about whatever uh, topic our guest is. So in this case, Jody's going to be talking about stress and anxiety in our pets and how we can create a more calming environment, and what we can offer for them. If you have any questions on this particular topic or for Jody or anything about standard process and some of the things that they offer, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll do a quick Q&A about for the last 15 minutes of our live. So you were saying that it could be multiple triggers that, make our pets feel somewhat anxious or
Mhm,
stressed. Like, what are some things we can do to create a more calming environment for them? Especially like it was just 4th of July that just
mhm,
passed. Fireworks are terrible for so many dogs.
mhm.
Doesn't rain in Southern California, so I can't comment on thunderstorms, but I know that that's a thing. I've seen those thunderstorm shirts,
Yeah,
you
like the
know,
thunder shirts, yeah.
yeah, the thunder
Yep.
shirts that help. So, like, what are some things we can do to sort of keep them calm?
I think it can depend from one animal to the next too. I mean, what works for one animal may not always work for the other. I'm a big fan of crate training, and so I have always trained my puppies from young that they have a safe place in their kennel. That is where their comfy bed is, that is where they sleep, that is where they go. And I see it even in normal everyday behavior. Like my black lab, she's kind of independent. When she's had enough, she'll retreat to her kennel, and that's where you'll find her. And so having a safe place, for some it may not be a kennel, for some it might be just a really comfy place on their bed, or just somewhere in the house. In the house, I think, is key,
Mm,
especially for some of those outside triggers. So if it's storms, or if it's fireworks, if you can bring them indoors. I know that there are people that have outdoor pets, but if you can bring them in, if they're used to coming in, that's going to at least remove some of that energy that's in the air, and remove some of that, like the loud stimulation that they're getting if they're actually outside by it. So that's always helpful. Remaining calm yourself, I think that's huge. And I've even had to tell that to my kids, because they get all excited when there's a storm coming and maybe we're going to have a tornado. Like, they think it's a cool thing. And so then kind of their energy is up, and then the dog's energy is up. And so I think getting everybody in the family to just realize that this is something that's kind of stressful for our dogs. Let's remain calm. Let's try to keep a peaceful demeanor in the house. And I think that can help. Exercise, that's another big one. If you know that there's some trigger coming, if you know you've got your parents are coming over that night for dinner and it really stresses out your animals, get them outside, get them exercise, get them some enrichment activities, and really tire them out. A tired puppy, or, well, I don't know if it's so much for cats, but a tired animal is typically a happy animal, because
mhm.
then they're more focused on taking a nap than freaking out about the people that are in your house, or maybe even the thunderstorm that's going through. So I think that's important too. And then always discussing with your veterinarian other options,
Mhm.
because there are things that we can give to our animals. There are supplements that are formulated specifically with research based ingredients that will help with balancing those neurotransmitters in the brain that really lead to that anxious behavior that we're seeing.
What kind of ingredients are we talking about here?
So there's lots of different ingredients we can talk about. We could spend a whole hour talking about that. But no, there's some key ones. And I guess before I jump into ingredients, just a really quick science lesson. So the body is all about balance and homeostasis. I mean, it's kind of the term that we call when that there's balance in the body. If that balance is off in the brain, then that's when we start to see some of these stressed, anxious behaviors. There are two key neurotransmitters in the brain that needs to be in balance: glutamate and GABA. And some of the ingredients that are out on the market and are in some of the commonly recommended supplements include amino acids that help to support and help with balancing those two neurotransmitters in the body, or in the brain. And so one is called L-theanine. L-theanine actually kind of acts like glutamate, which is the more excitatory neurotransmitter. And so the cool thing about that is it helps to not really block, but it takes up one of the receptor areas in the cell so that the glutamate can't get in, but the L-theanine gets in, and then that kind of breaks that cycle. It's almost like if you think about a car, the gas pedal is the glutamate, and the brake is the GABA. And so the L-theanine is going to help to balance that. It's going to help to take us off the accelerator a little bit and push on the brake a little bit. And so that's L-theanine. L-tryptophan is another common one. And you probably recognize L-tryptophan from Thanksgiving, because
Right.
tryptophan is a common amino acid that's in turkey that has a calming effect, and it can make you sleepy. And it also works with serotonin. And so that's another super common ingredient that we'll see in some of the formulas. Magnesium. Magnesium is an essential micromineral that has lots of research that supports its use for calming, stress behavior, balance. And so that's a pretty common ingredient that we'll see too. And there's lots of others. There's herbal ingredients like ashwagandha. And there's omegas. We can think about omegas for like inflammation and calming. Well, not so much calming, but helping with inflammation that could affect that imbalance in the brain. So lots of different options out there.
Yeah. Well, you guys do offer a calming supplement as well.
We do. We have two, actually. And there's a difference between the two. So I'll talk first about Spirited Paw. So Spirited Paw is a consumer-facing line. It is a line that launched in 2023. It is powered by Standard Process. It is manufactured by us. It has the same quality ingredients in as a Standard Process professional products do, but it is a line that is specific to and available directly to the pet owner. And so these products are formulated more to help with the common conditions that we're seeing. Something that a pet owner can recognize that their animals need, and then they can go to the Spirited Paw website and they can order them. They don't need that professional guidance from their veterinarian. Um, and so that product is called Spirited Paw Calm. And of course, it has L-theanine and L-tryptophan, and it has magnesium in it. But then it also has a proprietary blend of some whole food based ingredients because that is so important. Nutrition is so important in providing those nutrients from foods for the body. And so there's additional ingredients that are going to provide some amino acids and some antioxidants that are going to help to support that calm behavior in the animals. And so I would encourage you guys to check out the spiritedpaw.com website. There's a number of products there, but the Spirited Paw Calm is the one that I would encourage you to look at and to consider. It comes in a wafer. Cats and dogs, a lot of dogs like it as a treat. Even cats will take it as a treat. It crumbles pretty easily. And there's actually a promotion that's going on right now if you want to take advantage of that. If you enter Feed Real 25, you will get 25% off site wide. So that's Spirited Paw. The other product that we have, or the other line of products that we have, I should say, is our professional line. We have a veterinary line. That line has been around since 2002. There's a wide variety of different products in that line, but we do have one that recently launched that's called Calming Comfort Pro. This one is a more professional product. It is one that is formulated that we feel strongly that there needs to be guidance from the veterinarian because there's additional ingredients in it. It's a more therapeutic product that needs that guidance from the veterinarian because a lot of times by the time a pet is needing something more therapeutic, there's a good chance they might already be taking some pharmaceuticals, and there just needs to be that guidance from the veterinarian on that. So if you are a pet owner, I would encourage you to talk to your veterinarian about this product. If you're a veterinary professional on the call today and you want more information about the Calming Comfort Pro, reach out to Vet Help, and I would be happy to talk to you and to share more information about it with you.
Awesome. Those sound really great. And I love that you're incorporating whole foods as part of
Mm,
that because the body needs help with
absolutely.
absorbing anything that you're
Mhm.
putting inside.
It's
Um,
who we are. It's who Standard Process is, and it's who we and this is why I'm so passionate about this company because it's been this way for almost 100 years. I mean, it really is the whole philosophy of all of our products because we have a human line as well. And so we feel very firmly that those nutrients that that body needs should be coming from foods.
Sure. Yeah. We've had a few speakers actually come on and talk about nutrition and behavior
Mm,
and I guess the link to gut health and
mm.
the gut brain axis. Are you familiar? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So there's a lot of it's kind of a buzz right now. And I don't I mean sometimes buzz, I don't mean buzz by like it's just kind of a fly by night thought. It's not. It is definitely something that more and more people are talking about, but it's also because there's more and more research that's being put behind it. The gut brain axis is kind of the term that's been coined for that connection between the brain and the gut. There is a bidirectional communication between those two areas. And if one area is compromised, then there's a good chance the other area is compromised as well. And so that's also why nutrition and food and whole foods and more fresh foods are so important because ultra processed foods, we know there are studies that are being done, can lead to inflammation, not only in the gut, but in the body overall. And if there's inflammation in the gut, then there's a good chance that there's going to be some compromise or some imbalance again of those neurotransmitters in the brain. And so that's another really important thing to think about when you're working with animals that are showing stressed out behavior. Why are they stressed? You know, the first area I look at, the gut, because sometimes they have these just upset stomachs or just not eating great food, and that is uncomfortable and that stresses them out. So there is a definite connection between the gut and the brain.
Yeah. And we often say you can't out supplement a bad diet, right? So if you're,
Absolutely.
including these calming supplements in your dog's,
Hmm.
daily routine, but feeding an ultra processed diet, it's kind of like, uh, I'll be honest, I did do this in my 20s. It's like going to work out at the gym every day, but then you're going out and putting all kinds of,
Oh yeah. Yep.
junk food and alcohol in your body. It's You're just
Yep.
negating the benefits of that.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's it's a loaded conversation because I know there are some pet owners that for many different reasons. It could be financial, which you can still get some fresh food in a very inexpensive way. It might be financial, it might be their family dynamic. They just feel like they don't have time. I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes when I'm watching all of your amazing videos and the diets you are putting together, it's not so much time for me, it's sourcing. Where am I going to find all those cool ingredients that you might have where you are? But here in small town Palmyra, I mean, we don't necessarily have rabbit feet and duck heads, at our disposal. So I mean, there are limitations to some people, and I get that. But any amount of fresh food can be beneficial, and this is why having supplements as an option that come from whole foods can be helpful too. And that's really the whole basis behind the founder of Standard Process. He recognized almost 100 years ago that America's diet was kind of going a little bit more of a processed way, even 100 years ago. And so he said, if you're not going to eat food the way nature intended, let me gently concentrate it into a form you can take on a daily basis. And that really sums up everything that we're doing, both for people and for our animals with these
Yeah.
supplements.
It's kind of like, filling in the gaps, the nutrient gaps
Absolutely.
that you might
Hmm.
be missing because you've got a busy lifestyle and maybe
Right.
don't have access, to certain foods.
Right.
That's great. Jody, you are just a wealth of information. I
I've been
am
doing this
so
for a while.
No, and I love, the information that you shared about what ingredients to look for that are really helping in these sort of supplements, talking about the gut brain axis. If you guys have any questions for Jody, please feel free to drop them in the comments so we can get to those during our Q&A. Speaking of those calming supplements, are there things that we should be looking for or potentially uh, avoiding when we're choosing a calming supplement?
Or like even a supplement company. Um, so I would I don't know that I really would go into what you shouldn't, or like ingredients that you don't want, because I don't know that I really know that so much. I'm more focused on what the ingredients I know are beneficial, but I do know that it's really important to do your research on the company itself. There's lots of supplement companies that have come up over the years. I mean, more and more are being added every day, and there's a lot that are reputable. I mean, believe me, I love Standard Process, but we're not the only great supplement company out there. There's a lot of other companies that are out there that are just a little different than us because our main ingredients are of a whole food base. A lot of other supplement companies might do it a little bit differently, and that's okay. It comes down to quality and quality control and what types of parameters do they have in place for testing from the time those raw materials enter the facility until that product is packaged and going out the door, making sure that they're following all of the regulatory requirements. There's a lot of regulatory things that go into supplement companies, making sure that there isn't contamination, making sure that what's on the label is actually what's in the bottle. We know that's a problem with some companies because they just don't have that quality control in place. Research and development, that's such an important component too, is making sure that there is research that is being looked at and actually being conducted on ingredients, and then as supplements are being put together or those formulas are being put together. So I really encourage you to do your homework, because there's a lot of really, really good marketing out there and they make it look like they are spectacular. But if you really dive in and look at those ingredients, there are red flags there, and you just have to take the time to look for them.
Sure. I mean, do you think it's as easy as reaching out to the company and asking these questions, like what are
Mhm.
your quality control practices and such?
Yep, absolutely. I would hope that a reputable company would have somebody that you could talk to. And it might be a customer care person. It might be someone even a little bit more advanced. I mean, like at Standard Process, I'm a certified veterinary technician. I have so many smart people that I work with, nutrition scientists and our product formulators. And we have PhD nutrition scientists that are at our Nutrition Innovation Center, which is our main hub for research and development. So I certainly don't know anything, but I've got a whole lot of people on my team that can help me out and can get those answers for me. And
Sure.
I would really expect that for any supplement company. So call them, start asking some questions, and they should be able to answer them pretty easily for you.
Yeah. Well, and I think on top of that, you are in charge of the vet help line,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
it's not just your colleagues that you have at your disposal, but also veterinarians that are coming to you asking
True.
questions. I didn't even know that about Standard Process, that
Hmm.
that they had this vet help line.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if you can answer what kind of questions typically come in, or what are you normally talking about on this line?
It it varies. So there I work with a lot of veterinarians and veterinary professionals, technicians, receptionists, assistants, anybody in the vet practice will reach out with questions. And those questions can be anything from ingredient questions. I do a lot of case consultations. So they will reach out, we'll work through the details of that case, and they want to approach it with some nutritional supplements. And so we'll talk through the options that they have. I do a lot of follow up and a lot of troubleshooting where they'll reach out to me like a month later and we saw this and we've seen this great improvement, but now this has come up and now what can we do? And so we talk through a lot of those different scenarios. I talk to a lot of pet owners too. There's a lot of pet owners that will reach out to me, and I'm very careful about my answers to them though, because they really need. I'm not the person to be advising them on what they should be giving their animals. I'm there to answer questions about the products, and I can certainly do that. So I do get a lot of questions about products from pet owners, and then I will advise them that here's a product that you might want to take this information back to your veterinarian and talk to them about it to see if this is really what would be most appropriate for your animal and their needs at this time. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of it. A lot of nutrition questions about uh, what the benefits of different foods are for supporting different areas of the body, and just a wide gamut. There are so many questions that I still get even after almost 18 years with Standard Process on conditions that I've never heard of. So I
Mhm.
am so thankful some days that I have Google right in front of me that I can quick Google something because it's a condition I've never heard of, and then I'm like, oh, I see that it affects this and this and this area. Let's see how we can nutritionally support those areas. So I don't think I could ever be a sales rep in the field. So, to all of my sales reps out there that are having to answer questions on the fly without having Google right in front of them, huge kudos to you guys. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean it's definitely tough. There's I'd say in almost every industry, of course, right? But when we're talking about food and things we're putting into our own bodies and into our dogs and our cats' bodies, like you really have to do your research.
Hmm.
And I'd say unfortunately, but also fortunately, there's free information at our fingertips and a lot of people that are available readily to answer your question. So
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Anyone that's looking for a company to purchase from, the accessibility of
Hmm.
that company and the ability to answer sourcing questions and
Hmm.
manufacturing questions is huge. And if they are answering everything but, or not answering you at all, run,
Right.
run far.
Yeah, I would be concerned about that. I will tell you though that we have a lot of questions that come in. So if you don't hear back from me within 24 or 48 hours, don't worry. I'm coming. So don't think I'm ignoring you. But no, I agree with you that there are definitely questions that should be easily answered. And even if the person you're talking to doesn't know that answer, they should be able to find it for you.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see. We have a question from Kim. I'm not sure if this is related to Standard Process or Spirited Paw, but we'll just bring this up. I've used Farmers Market and now using this brand for fresh human grade food, which was recently bought out by Mars. Do you have any suggestions on good fresh food to order online? our girl is a 14-year-old beagle mix at a healthy weight? I can answer that, but do you have any
Perfect.
input?
No, you please go.
Well, I think everything that you shared initially about what you're looking for in a supplement company is the same thing that I recommend for a food company. What I will say is, for years, the Feed Real Institute did not recommend any particular brands because their ingredients changed so frequently, and their
Mm,
sourcing and their processing. However, all of our partners for the Feed Real Summit have been vetted by the Feed Real Institute. And
awesome.
so anyone that you find on our website that we've recommended for the year 2025 is who we would suggest for fresh food. And the same answer goes when people ask us for supplement help. We say these are the companies that we trust. Standard Process and Spirited Paw are both on the Feed Real Summit website. So I'd refer you to that. Also, if you're interested in making your own food, we teach workshops. So you can do that at home. And I think something that that really helps a lot with is knowing what's going into your dog's food, because if you're making it yourself, you're in control of all of those ingredients. Anything to add to that, Jodi?
You answered that so beautifully. I think I'm gonna use that answer moving forward. No, because seriously, I get that answer a lot, and I'm the same way. I I don't have time to vet a lot of different companies, and I know that there are multiple very good quality good quality food companies out there. So I love that you guys have done that. And so now I'm going to direct people to the Feed Real website. And look, these are foods that I know have been looked at, have been evaluated, and are confident that the ingredients that are in these products are going to be beneficial. And it's still, I will still say, every animal is different. Every dog has different needs. Some will do great with certain types of foods, some will not do great with certain types of foods. So you do have to recognize that there's not that one stop shop fix diet for every single dog. And it might be a little bit of trial and error, but I love that you put those recommendations out there. So perfect
Thank
answer.
you. Thank
Hmm.
you. Thank you. Well, Jodi, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and joining us today and telling us about your Calm supplement for both Spirited Paw and for Standard Process. And also, thank you for this generous promotional code,
Hmm.
FeedReal25 for 25% off anything from spiritedpaw.com. Any last words or comments that you'd like to share with our audience?
The only thing that I would say is if you guys have questions, and this is especially directed to our veterinary professionals because you guys are the ones that I really want to be leading this conversation, reach out to me at VetHelp. It's vethelp at standardprocess.com. If you're a pet owner and you have questions, you're welcome to reach out as well. But please understand that I will answer your questions generally, but will encourage you to be working with your veterinarian when it comes to supplement choices. But please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help. I mean, you can tell I like talking to people. So um, happy to answer any questions that come up that maybe we didn't talk about today.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jodi. And for
Of
those of
course.
you who haven't yet purchased your tickets to join us at the summit, it is this October 11th and 12th in sunny San Diego. We have, I think, 5 VIP tickets left. So get on that. You do have to have a general admission ticket in order to upgrade your ticket to VIP. And we would love to have you there so you could meet some of our amazing partners and speakers that are going to be there all weekend. Thanks again, Jodi. I appreciate
Thank
your time,
you so
and
much. Thanks for
my
making this
pleasure.
happen. Appreciate you
Yes,
guys so much.
happy to do so. All right, you guys have a great rest of your Friday and an awesome weekend. See ya.
Bye, everyone. Take care.